Namaste everyone. This is Dr. Pratibha K.S. Head, Department of Biotechnology at KLA Society's S. Nijingappa College, Rajajnagar, Bengaluru. Today I am before you to present a lecture talk on transformation of cells with recombinant DNA. Transformation of living organisms by insertion of genes, that is recombinant molecule, has seen exciting progress. Introduction of recombinant DNA into the cell without the involvement of vectors has gained significant momentum. Several vectorless gene transfer methods have been established. Efficient uptake of recombinant DNA molecule by bacteria, particularly E. coli cells, has been standardized. Introducing genes into eukaryotes involves several vectorless or physical mediated methods like electroporation, microinjection, and calcium chloride method can be seen. Vectorless means here we are not using any vector system. Directly the gene will be introduced into the host cell system. Now let us go through here first calcium chloride method. In the process of transformation, all bacterial cells cannot uptake the exogenous DNA molecule. Those which are capable to take up the foreign DNA or exogenous DNA or target DNA are called competent cells. So, our aim in this step is to make bacterial cells more competent so that our possibility of transferring of the recombinant DNA into the host cell increases to a higher fold. Calcium chloride makes the cell wall of the bacteria more permeable to the exogenous DNA and thus increases the competence of the host cell. Let us go through the procedure. Grown E. coli cells are isolated and suspended in 50 mm calcium chloride at a concentration of 108 to 1010 cells per ml. The cells may be incubated for 12 to 24 hours to increase the frequency of transformation. The recombinant DNA is then added. Recombinant DNA means I have explained in the previous video that how to construct recombinant DNA molecule. Once we construct recombinant DNA molecule, that recombinant DNA can be used. Okay. Efficient transformation takes only a few minutes and the cells are plated on a suitable medium for the selection of transformed clones. The frequency of a transformed cells is 106 to 107 per mg of plasmid DNA. This is about one transformation per 10,000 plasmid molecules. The transformed cells are suitably diluted and spread thinly on a suitable medium so that each cell is well separated and produces a separate colony. Generally, the medium is designed that it permits only the transformed cells to divide and produce colonies. Now let us go through the electroporation. Electroporation or electropermeabilization is the process of applying electric field to a living cell for a brief duration of time in order to create microscopic pores in the plasma membrane called electropores. As the name suggests here, we are going to make transient pores or temporary pores within the host cells, right, by applying the electric field or electricity or by using the voltage. This technique is used for transferring the recombinant DNA molecule into a wide range of hosts starting from bacteria to plant and animal cells. In plant, we are using the protoplast. Protoplast means cells without the cell wall. Okay. Now let us go through here picture representation of gene transfer by electroporation. Here we have culture cells. Okay, and here we have the desired DNA or gene of interest with selectable marker gene. Okay, or directly you can take only the gene of interest. We are going to mix here the culture cells, okay, the host cells and the DNA with a special cuvette. Okay, well, we have taken here the culture cells and desired DNA fragments. Okay, desired DNA molecule we have taken. Okay, here you can see grow in the with cell You can see the host chromosomal DNA within the nucleus, and this is the host cell, and this is our desired DNA molecule. When we apply the electric field here with the appropriate voltage, here what happens? You can see the formation of transient pores, or temporary pores are going to be formed across the plasma membrane. Cells take up DNA through the holes in membrane during the application of electric field or with appropriate voltage. Okay, and here gene of interest can be seen within the host cell nucleus. DNA which has enters the nucleus. Okay, along with selectable marker. Further, we can go for the screening and selection of the host cell. Okay, we can check whether the cell has uptaken our desired DNA fragment or not. Let us go to the principle behind the electroporation. The phospholipid molecules of the plasma membrane are not static. When we apply electric field to them, there what happens? Kinetic energy increases, resulting in the increase in the membrane permeability at certain points. This is exactly where we see the formation of electropores. Okay, transient pores which are happen on application of the electric field with the appropriate voltage. The recombinant DNA can pass through these transient pores before they close. Now let us go through the procedure. In this process, cells are mixed with recombinant DNA, and the mixture is placed in a small chamber with electrodes connected to a specialized power supply. Then a brief electric impulse is discharged across the electrodes, which makes pores or holes in the plasma membrane. These pores remain for some time and are again released themselves. Recombinant DNA enters the cell, which are removed and plated in fresh selective medium for the further screening and selection. The process of selection is then applied to isolate cells carrying only recombinant DNA molecule. Now let us go to the merits of electroporation. Merits: large number of transformed cells can be obtained. Efficient transformation, low frequency cell death, does not require high expertise. Demerits: regeneration problem associated with protoplast, occurrence of genetic variation in plants regenerated from protoplast can be seen. Now let us go to the another technique which comes under the transformation of recombinant DNA. This is the direct introduction of recombinant DNA into the host cell, that is microinjection. This technique has been used successfully with both plant and animal cells. In this procedure, the cell is held on a glass capillary by gentle suction. The microinjection needle is made by drawing out a heated glass capillary to a fine point using a micromanipulator, that is a mechanical device for fine control of capillary. Here, the needle has been inserted into the nucleus of the host cell to inject our desired DNA molecule directly to the nucleus. One obvious disadvantage is that this technique is labor intensive and not suitable for primary cloning procedures where large number of recombinants are required. However, in certain specialized cases, it is an excellent method for targeting DNA delivery once a suitable recombinant has been identified and developed to the point where microinjection is feasible. You can see here the diagrammatic representation of microinjection, where you could see the transfer of DNA by using injection pipette. This is the holding pipette with the suction. Okay, with the suction, this holding pipette which is holding protoplast or cell. Protoplast means cell without the cell wall, that is the plant cell. Here you can see the nucleus. By using this injection pipette, by needle which is directly introduced into the nucleus, we are going for the direct gene transfer to the host cell, specifically to the nucleus. Okay, you can see here the DNA solution in this injection pipette needle. Skinning and selection of recombinant host cells. Skinning of recombinant clones is essential in recombinant work. Both direct and indirect skinning methods are employed. There are several direct and indirect methods are employed. For your syllabus, whatever is required, that and those methodologies I am covering here. Let us go to the first skinning methodology, that is through colony hybridization. Okay, the DNA sequence in the transformed colonies can be detected by hybridization by using radioactive DNA probes. Okay, here probes means single stranded DNA molecule. Small, okay, small single stranded DNA molecule are oligonucleotides. Few nucleotides can be seen in the probes, and these are desired DNA molecule. And to these probes, radioactive isotopes were labeled to screen or to identify where these particular probes which are bound or hybridized with that particular host DNA. Sometimes labeled RNA probes can also be used. Colony hybridization technique is also referred to as replica plating by many authors. Okay, here you can see the diagrammatic representation of screening by colony hybridization. Okay, so here you can see this is the master plate where you could see the presence of colonies. Within the colony, there will be a million number of microorganisms can be seen. So this is the master plate. In step 1, what are we going to do? Colony cells are transferred. The exact replica we are going to make. Okay, for example, this is the cultured plate or master plate. This is the culture plate or master plate. To this, we are going to touch with the wooden block which are covered with the sterile valvate. Okay, this wooden block will be touched to the master plate and transferred to the nitrocellulose membrane or nylon membrane. To the nylon membrane, this wooden block will be touched onto the solid matrix. Okay, then step 2, lysis of cells, then denature of the DNA. Once we denature the DNA, then the DNA molecule, denaturing DNA means hydrogen bonds will be broken down. Double stranded will become into a single stranded. Once they become single stranded, in the presence of hybridization solution, when we treat the probes, these probes, single stranded probes, desired DNA probes, which if they have the complementary DNA molecule, they'll go and hybridize with the respective DNA which are present DNA in the colonies. Once hybridized probe which bound to that particular complementary DNA molecule, then this particular nitrocellulose membrane, nylon membrane will be subjected to the autoradiograph to track where exactly our transformer DNA is found. Okay, then further, once we found in this particular colonies desired our DNA molecule within that particular colonies, those colonies will be chosen for the further subculturing. Okay, so the colonies which are bound with the our probe DNA molecule, once hybridization is found, those colonies will be further subjected for the subculture. So we'll go for the subculture from the master plate for the further process of selection. Okay, skinning and selection will be done here. Further, that will be used for the exploitation at the commercial level. The transformed cells are grown as colonies on a master plate. Samples of each colony are transferred to a solid matrix such as nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. The transfer is carefully carried out to retain the pattern of the colonies on the master plate. Thus, the nitrocellulose paper contains a photocopy pattern of the master plate colonies. The colony cells are lysed and deproteinized. The DNA is denatured and irreversibly bound to a matrix. Now, a radio-labeled DNA probe is added which hybridizes with the complementary target DNA. The non-hybridized probe molecules are washed away by using the wash buffer. The colony with hybridized probe can be identified on autoradiograph where that emits the radiations or color, right? Colored radiations. The cells of this colony that is on the master plate can be isolated and cultured further. Many a times, multiple colonies are detected on hybridization by a DNA probe. This is due to overlapping sequences. To identify which colony has the complete sequence of the target gene, data observed from the restriction endonuclease analysis will be very helpful. Now let us go through another technique, the immunological assay, that is screening by immunological assay. Immunological techniques can be used for the detection of a protein or a polypeptide synthesized by a gene, that is through transcription followed by translation. Transcription is process of formation of the mRNA molecule, and that mRNA molecule will further going to the process of translation. Translation means synthesis of polypeptide chain or formation of the protein molecule, right? The procedure adopted for immunological assay and hybridization technique, okay, which was described in the previous slide, which are quite comparable, okay? Scanning procedure by immunological assay is briefly described here. Here first, cells are grown as colonies on master plates, okay, which are transferred to a solid matrix. How we did in the colony hybridization, same methodology will be done here. Solid matrix like nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. The colonies are then subjected to lysis, okay, and the released proteins bound to the matrix. These proteins are then treated with the primary antibody, which specifically binds to the protein, which acts as an antigen encoded by the target DNA. After removing the unbound antibody by washing, a second antibody is added, which specifically binds to the first antibody. Again, the unbound antibodies are removed by wash buffer through washings. The second antibody carries an enzyme label, for example, horseradish peroxidase or alkaline phosphatase, bound to it. The detection process is so devised that as a colorless substrate, it is acted upon by this enzyme. A colored product is formed. The colonies which give positive result, that is colored spots, are identified. The cells of specific colony can be subcultured from the master plate. In wherever colonies you have got the colored spot, no, those colonies will be selected. Okay, the cells of a specific colony can be subcultured from the master plate. Here you can see the diagrammatic representation. This is the master plate. Okay, from this colony cells transfer to a nylon membrane or nitrocellulose membrane of the solid matrix by using the wooden block. We are going to get the exact replica here. Then further lysis of cells will be done. Okay, then proteins bound to matrix. Once the cells are lysed, proteins are bound to matrix. Here you can see the cell colonies. Okay, to this primary antibodies will be applied. When we apply the primary antibody, which act like an antigen that goes and binds to that particular respective proteins, then to this unbound primary antibodies are removed by using wash buffer. Then secondary antibodies will be treated. After treatment of the secondary antibody, then unbound antibodies will be removed. Okay, then this particular secondary antibody which reacts with the proteins and which is tagged with the enzyme, right? Which enzyme? Horseradish peroxidase or alkaline phosphatase enzyme. Once they react with each other, which gives the colored product. Once the colony which are responsible to give a colored product, those colonies will be selected and further subcultured for the further exploitation. Okay, so the colony which has given the colored product upon treatment of the secondary antibody, okay, then that particular colony will be selected for the subculture okay, and exploitation will be done. So this is about the transformation of recombinant DNA. I hope you understood today's concept. I, Dr. Pratibha K, signing off for today. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos. Thank you for watching and thank you for being with me. Kindly subscribe my this channel. Thank you.